And welcome y'all to Conversations with Dean. I am Dean. That over there is Sir Wilkins from the Jobber Tears podcast. Listen, and y'all already know y'all in for one hell of a goddamn episode. But before we do that, we got to go ahead and we got to go and pay some bills. And listen here, black, brown people, y'all know the tax man is coming on April 15th, and you're going to have to pay him regardless. Don't matter if you missed paying him last year, maybe you missed paying him the year before, or you need to hurry up and file your taxes. And maybe you're just being lazy for this year, haven't filed them yet. I got the place for you to go, son. Go holler at them at JG&A Tax Services. Listen, I'm telling you, they're going to be able to hold you down in whatever you need. So listen, we know this pandemic was kind of crazy. We know finances are something that's very, we hold that close to the chest. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that when you're talking to people about what you went through, maybe your loss of income, how you had to maneuver certain things, you want to talk to somebody that you know is going to understand what you're going through and is able to relate to you as well. So they're giving you the best advice. Not only are they giving you the best advice, they're doing what's in your best interest and then giving you financial literacy at the same damn time. You go ahead and holler at JG&A Tax Services. Use the @BerryGang1 code. You give them a call at 631-542-2344. Once again, 631-542-2344. Listen, they are going to be located in Long Island, New York. They got you. Give them a call. Tell them Dean and Lo sent you. We're going to hold you down. Now, when they hold you down at JG&A Tax Services and you get that refund and you feeling right, listen, I'm going to need y'all, all my stoners, all my 420 people. You know what I'm saying? Hold up. Make sure you use some of that at Store of Life Clothing, 42710 LLC, baby. Holla at them on the Instagram machine. They're going to hold you down. Listen, they got the Jack Harris shirt you're going to have out of order. You got that good old Munchie Man. You got stickers. You got pendants. Anything you need. Holla at them. You make sure you use that code at the BerryGang1, baby. But hold on, Sir Wilkins. There's one more thing. Of how to get your life right. Because you know, and you know what, Sir Wilkins, because you're a man who's in shape. You lift, you know what it is, and you're also a personal trainer. Well, we have a personal trainer on, who happens to sponsor our show, and he just happens to have been Europe's strongest man. He happens to have been Britain's strongest man. He happened to have won the world ultimate strong man. He's been to the world strongest man competition 11 times. His name is Big Laz, and you can go find him at Big Laz World Strongest Man. Listen here, folks. This savage decided to say, you know what, players? While I'm sitting back, I was in retirement, because he was in retirement, and then he said, I'm going to put up some training plans to help everybody. So let's say you want to compete in strongman, he got you. You want to get into powerlifting? He got you. Bodybuilding, fitness modeling? He got you. The client, let me tell you something. Right now, the holder of the women's deadlift record, you know who her coach is? Big fucking Laz. I'm just telling y'all to go holler at him. Or even if you're just a regular Joe, you're like, I don't want to do all that shit. Well, listen, my job causes me to lift heavy things, heavy individuals, things like that. So I have to make sure I'm ready and in shape. I hollered at Big Laz. We made a training program together. I'm going into work feeling strong, safe, ready, willing, and able to do anything I need. Y'all go holler at him at Big Laz WSM on the Instagram machine. Use that at the BerryGang1 code. Make sure you tell him Dean and Lo sent you. And now with that, y'all, it is time, baby. Listen, Sir Wilkins, thank you once again for coming on. I appreciate you, pimp. So listen here. Listen here, people. I promise you. I know last time we had Sir Wilkins on, we got into wrestling and then they got off the walls. Whatever. No promises this time. But here's what I do have. I have notes. I have some notes that are wrestling related. So I promise you, we will get there. Maybe. But before we got on air, I was giving Sir Wilkins his flowers just from like content creator to content creator. You know what I mean? And just in what he's doing and how I'm not only a fan of what he does in the wrestling way of it, but I'm a fan in the way that he handles his business and the way I'm seeing it. That is definitely where I want BTB to go and get to. And then what I was saying is how I think that, like we were talking about, content creators, you're being one episode, one viral moment away from getting your big hit. And what I was telling him, I said the way that he has his setup on his on the Instagram machine, people, it's fucking phenomenal. When you're having coffee with Sir Wilkins, he's having his coffee chat with you. He drinks his coffee and he delivers you some. It could be good news, or it could be bad news, or it could either way. But it's the delivery and the way that it aesthetically looks and how he's giving it to you. Bang bang, he's getting in and out. That's something I myself am trying to be able to do, be able to learn how to do, and just watching you, I'm just such a fan of it. Like how to. It's a silly, stupid question, but I have to ask, and this is just me just wanting to know how are you getting your points down so concise, so in and out, bada boom, bada bam.
So first things first, everything happened because I listened to the audience. So when I first started the page, because one thing you always got to figure out is what's working within your whatever community you're in, and what's not working, and what's missing. So when we first started the podcast about 3 years ago, I was like, all right, cool, we're gonna do an Instagram page. Every podcast has the same shit. I show they show an episode they got. They post a random picture of what's going on in wrestling, but there was no podcast page doing news updates. All podcast page was straight about their podcast and a little bit of content. Or there was a wrestling news page, only wrestling news, and that was it. So I'm figuring it out, and I was like, yo, what about if I put news on the page as well of whatever's going on? So the first time I uploaded it, I did a piece, whatever. People liked it, whatever. Not too crazy. Then the second time I was like, yo, I want to catch people. People got to know what I'm talking about right away. So I would put a split screen of me and whatever I'm talking about.
Right.
Then my homeboy, shout out to my homeboy Fidel. He's been supporting my shit since we started. He's a wrestling fan, but he also would give me feedback. He was like, yo, I like what you did with the split screen. He was like, honestly speaking, if I just saw your face, I would have scrolled right past it. I was like, I bet we're gonna continue to do that. So I kept doing it, and then I did a coffee talk one time, but it wasn't a coffee talk. I was just drinking some coffee because I was annoyed about something. I decided to talk about it. So it hit. People were like, I think, because I look at how the numbers are going, we don't have that many followers, but we get a lot of high engagement. The engagement was high. Then I said, okay, this makes sense. But I also started looking at what's going on in the current landscape. And I remember watching this old TED Talk with Eric Bischoff. Now, if anybody who's listening doesn't know who Eric Bischoff is, Eric Bischoff was a former writer, head programmer. He was the guy who almost made WCW kill WWE. Almost.
Yeah.
But didn't happen.
Didn't happen, but fucking listen, his name is to be respected in that. You know what I mean? He's a legend in this wrestling shit.
Huge legend. So he did a TED Talk, and he was like how news reporting literally took being heels and faces from wrestling. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I started looking at it. Fox News. What is Fox News? That's the heel. They always have they have like, yo, I'm against the grain. Whatever. Fucking, I remember Obama had a fucking tan suit. And that was the biggest thing in the fucking world. Because he had a tan suit on.
Yup.
But they made something into a bigger thing, and they had their followers. CNN, give or take, is the face, but it's all about conversations. It's not fucking real news.
But then something else too, the whole thing and I think this is what makes wrestling, movies, life. Everything is context, right? You see the 9, you see the 6. So what's a heel and babyface to one is then a babyface and heel to another. It's exactly. And they both demonize each other in the same way. Just going to your point, it's the same playbook They're just using it's the same playbook, but they just have their own plays.
Exactly. Exactly. So then I did one and it hit. And I was like, people want to hear my opinion, but then I realized something.
Right.
All forms of entertainment have editorials. All forms of entertainment has personalities. The thing about wrestling, all the personalities are only in writing, are only on blogs. And then you'll have some personalities, but they're only on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, most wrestling personalities who aren't wrestlers are whites.
Talk about that's what I'm yo, son. That's what I mean. Like when I like of just being a fan of just you and everything you do. It's just it is so wonderful seeing someone who looks like me talk about this shit. It's so wonderful. Like I always got to give Barry and Smarks, and also too, my bad on our last episode. I forgot to mention the homie heel turn. You know what I'm
I love
saying?
heel turn.
Yo, and then obviously Black Wrestling Alliance. Shout out to them homies out there. But like it's like that's why I love following y'all shit, because it's really in tune to the shit that we be talking about. And I don't even want to give this guy any clout, but I have to, unfortunately. I got to talk about him. I think this is a perfect segue into talking about him, because you had a video about this schmucks list. And that's this cuckold fucking cock-sucking AEW Tony Khan licking asshole fucking cum guzzling bastard named Dave Metzler. So oh my God, it hurts to talk about him. It hurts my soul, like deep down. It just it bugs me. But that list that he made, can we just talk about why he's just so out of touch? Because the one thing I like about you is that it's like, listen, Barry and Smarks, I go to Barry and Smarks because I know that Barry and Smarks, I go there because he's going to just give me complete hate on everything that is AEW, and then people who like the shit on WWE unjustly. That's what I like him for, okay?
Yeah.
Heel turn is going to be, he's a little more fair, but he leans more towards just whatever he's feeling. You know what I mean? At that time. And he'll shit on WWE if he wants to. He'll shit on AEW. He'll shit on the masses. I love it. I appreciate it. You and Black Wrestling Alliance, y'all are like neutral. You just present it. Like, yeah, you may have your biases here and there to certain things, but for the most part, you just present whatever you're talking about. So yeah. What do you think when you see old ass Dave Metzler just continuing to he's trying to ride the wave, not even understanding he's on the wrong wave?
So Dave is Dave, right? And this is so the list. So I'll say it because you're not gonna want to say it. It's the Wrestling Observer year-end awards, right?
Right.
And some people were like, "Yo, he doesn't put the list together. His fans vote for him." But I was like, his fans are his fans for a reason. They're mega biased towards AEW.
Right.
Now, Dave is another version of Jim Cornette. They have their bias against whatever they like. But regardless, they have great wrestling minds. The thing about Dave, my nigga, we know that you're on their payroll.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you lean towards them. They named the move after you because they fucks with you. And to be honest, I understand, dude.
Right.
I understand you got that little check coming in, because from what I read and what I kind of know, Tony Khan went out and paid the wrestling media.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm not mad at you about that. You got to do what the fuck you got to do to make your brand better.
He's a businessman.
He understands how. The thing about Tony is that it's his gift and his curse when it comes to this is that he was a fan first.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a modern day fan. So he understands how important the internet is. Absolutely. So that's why he went out and did what he had to do. Now, they be bugging, like straight bugging sometimes. When it comes to when he says certain things, you're like, what?
The Fiend. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that?
So him putting the Fiend, even if he didn't, because he voted for it, because he has to put a vote in. Even him putting that in the category as the worst gimmick of the year was absolutely stupid. It shouldn't have been something you could pick, because the fucking shit hit on every fucking level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to say the matches were bad, that's one thing. But the gimmick itself was amazing. Mm-hmm. That's why niggas watch the fucking Raw. They couldn't wait for Firefly Funhouse. They couldn't wait. They love the gimmick, and it's like pure genius on Bray Wyatt's part. But to say that it's the worst gimmick, that was absolutely full of shit. And motherfuckers will be like, oh, no, he didn't vote for it. But he put that into the category to vote for it. And it shouldn't have been there at all.
All right.
We can go back and forth. We can go back and forth and complain about Jon Moxley, but there's an argument for Jon. I'm not a huge fan of Jon, but if somebody legit came to me and was like, yo, this is the reason why, they have an argument.
Uh-huh.
But you don't have an argument for the Fiend.
Talk about your son.
You don't have an argument for that shit.
Can I say something real fast? So listen here, people, fans of Conversation of Dean, because now y'all know we now have the visual out. Y'all know that Dean is always y'all call me the ranter. Y'all say that I'm the rant man, but listen, there's an art to this, and goddamn it, Sir Wilkins is on his way to fucking mastering this art. I am a student to hear, because that was one wonderful. I loved all your points, and then I knew you was feeling it and feeling some kind of way because I heard that accent slip out a little bit, and I was like, ooh, he's really wound up about this, and I'm loving it. That's why I went like this. I was like, I gotta, and then I heard the accent. I was like, ooh, yeah, no. I'm just looking here like, oh, this is wonderful. So listen, I'm not mad at Tony, like you said, for buying the media, but I wish that then the wrestling media, the journalists, then just keep it a buck. You see what I'm saying? Like keep it real with the people. Let it be known, like, listen, we're affiliated with AEW. We're gonna be covering their stuff like this. Like treat. Like I don't know how you want to present it. That will be y'all job, because y'all got paid to do it. But just do the fucking right thing. Just don't be out here just blatantly sucking dick. And it's something else too. I get it, Tony. You're trying to get buzzes and yada yada yada. I'm gonna say it. I'm not a fan of this Big Show move. I'm not and you know why I'm not a fan of the Big Show move? I feel like, all right, if you were gonna take Show, why are you making him an announcer? What's the reason to have the big? You should treat if you're gonna have this big massive monster, treat him as the poor man's Brock Lesnar. No disrespect. And what I mean by that is he should be a monster in AEW. Treat him the way WWE treats Brock. Big Show comes in there because he is a monster. He's 7 foot, 400 something pounds, and let him run through some folk. Gain some steam, gain some momentum, then you get somebody to take him down. But now you have him as an announcer. What are you wasting your money for? If you're gonna do it. Now, personally, listen, I'm not counting no man's pockets. Obviously, I bet that he got a pretty penny for it. But my whole thing with the Big Show is, what you ruining your legacy like this for? What's the reason? Like, I feel like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Show? Why are we ruining the legacy? What are you going? Come on, son. Like, all right, listen, let's call it for what it is. AEW, I understand you got to get some of the older stars, and I'm loving it in certain things, but like one thing is like I'm tired. Like, okay, looking at Chris Jericho's HGH stomach bothers me. It makes me want to throw up. It's like it's like when I'm
HGH?
Beer, whatever. I don't know. It's something bad because he looks horrendous, and I'm tired of looking at it. It's like, bro, you don't. It's like, all right, I get it. I know if like Chris Jericho ever listen to something that he says some shit like, "Oh, if I ever found you out, Junior, I'd pretzel you." No, you wouldn't. You get fucked up, Chris. Like, this is real life. Like, yeah, like, okay, you could fight soaking other people. Like, this is not. I'm not scared of you, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just being it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? I don't find it cool. That's why I don't pay to watch it. Don't get me wrong. There are some stars in AEW that they have that you're fucking failing on, I think. And it's just like, I feel as if you're chasing, no, like it looks like you're chasing like WWE's hand-me-downs in certain regards. And it's like, build your own, like, just, you have good talent there. You have very interesting, they got a lot there that they can work with. They got a whole lot. Like, I think somebody fucking tweeted CM Punk and they were like, oh, if you, like, what would you do? Like, you never see this tweet, whatever like that, but like, what would you do with AEW or some shit like that if you were Tony Khan? And he's just like, I would use what I got. Because the talent's there. But what do we need? Like, and then if you're going to get this talent, what are you misusing them for, baby?
So I think my shorty is a huge wrestling fan, and she had said it.
Right.
He was like, they were checking the diversity checklist when they started. And they really don't know what to do. And that's what it comes down to, because they are just scouring to figure things out as they go by. Like, it's every day, I think, for them, is they're trying to figure it out. Tony never ran a wrestling company before. That's one. The EVPs, which is Cody, Kenny, the Bucks, they never ran a company before. The Bucks used to run like a small independent promotion, like back in their hometown, but they never really ran a company per se. Mm-hmm. So they all don't know what they're really doing. Jericho kind of knows, but at the end of the day, they're not using
I wouldn't say Jericho knows how to run a company. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I mean a wrestling company.
Yeah, but they're not using the OGs that's already there. You have Dean Malenko, Billy Gunn, DDP. You have a bunch of talented like producer guys back there that the young talent doesn't want to listen to. That's one. Number two, there's a lot of issues.
I have a question. Hold on. I have a question. So that's my thing. Tony, baby, boss up. You just said something that bothers me. You have these talented producers the young guys don't want to listen to. That's when Tony, the producers go, listen, we told these guys to do X, X, and X. They tried this shit. They could repeatedly try this shit, and it fails. You need to do something. EVPs, you need to do something. Go fucking do your jobs.
A lot of them are friends. That's another issue. A lot of them are friends, so they don't want to tell their friends anything. And there's been issues because so one thing that nobody will ever know is that the reason why we never hear any really bad things about AEW from talent, all the talent signs an NDA when they jump on board.
Of course. For how long?
It may be as long as their contract is there or how long they're going to be there for, but everybody signs an NDA.
Amazing.
So from what I hear is like, you can't say anything about what happened with the company. Because a lot of people don't know this is because they had a COVID scare back in the fall. A couple of niggas had gotten COVID, and it's understandable because, my nigga, y'all wrestling, y'all close to each other. It happens. We're in a fucking pandemic, so I'm not gonna shit on them, but
you see, but you see how Daddy Dave would be getting on WWE if old Vinnie Mac was out there doing it. Dave would be like, if I get out there, can't even talk because he's got Tony Khan's dick so far down his throat. Yeah, I don't know if he's taking a shit or has he got his dick coming out there. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but that's the thing where they had this whole COVID situation, but nobody, because the Bucks had COVID. A couple other people came out and said they had COVID too, which is understandable. And it's life. It's life. It's not really my business. But the thing about it, they're struggling. They're just trying to figure it out. They're trying to find their footing, but they make it seem like they're so perfect, but they're not, because their media is making it seem like they don't make barely any mistakes.
They make a lot. Like, honestly, that's why. So me and one of my close friends, Gary, we go back and forth all the time because he's like, AEW's the shit, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. I'm like, no, I'm not watching WWE's hand-me-downs. And what I mean by that is, when I'm saying hand-me-downs, it's like, it's so obvious that you're not trying to, it's like, now I guess you're trying to set yourself apart with how much blood and gore and yada, 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 trying to bring that back, get as much edge as you can. But it's the way you operate, the way you're using your stars is just so reminiscent of just WWE and everything. It's just like I'm good on it because like you're not even using the guys. I would like first of all, I would want to see. There's no reason that Adam Hangman Page isn't y'all champion. Like there's no reason. There's no reason. There's no reason. There's no reason that guy is not a monster right now. There is no reason that fucking the Party Boys, who are those guys? The two black guys?
Yeah, a Private Party.
Private Party. It's Isaiah. It's Isaiah and then Cassidy. Yeah. And then there's no reason that those guys.
It's Isaiah. It's Isaiah Mark.
It's Isaiah Mark. Yeah, because it's Isaiah Cassidy and then Mark. Yeah. So there's no reason that those guys aren't running smuck shot with the championship, beefing maybe with the Luchasaurus and the Jungle Boy. There's no reason that like your women's division is the way it is. Like everyone keeps talking, like you know what I mean. Like there is, you have so much talent there already, but yet you just keep grasping for straws. And I guess I'm saying, like I feel as if they're gonna misuse the Big Show, no doubt in my mind. What the hell do you have this man on here talk? I don't want to hear the Big Show talk. I want to see him put somebody through it. Now, good shit with the Shaq stuff. I did like Shaq going through a table. That was funny.
But that's the thing. They okay. They don't know what they're doing. They're still trying to find their footing because they were all about this is going to be a sports-centric type of company. None of that sports entertainment type of shit. Okay, whatever. We'll pay attention. My nigga, you just had Shaq on your show. You just had Shaq. You had Snoop Dogg come off the top rope and do a dog paddle splash. Like it.
Would those guys step into a UFC ring?
No,
exactly.
But it's fine because you know what? I enjoy sports entertainment. But stop trying to act like this shit is a completely different thing and it's this revolutionary type of shit. Like, bro, like this is wrestling. It's fine. It is. I am absolutely fine with the sports entertainment because I enjoyed Shaq. I watched that whole thing. It was enjoyable.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw the highlights and I was like, oh, that looks funny. I said that looked cool. Like, so he actually wrestled.
He wrestled. It was a short match because, he ain't a real wrestler, but it was short. It was entertaining. Nigga took a big ass spot where his nigga is 7-something and taking that spot. That is tough. But to go back, it's like, okay, you guys are doing this sports entertainment stuff. You're not really being different. Fine. That's not a problem. But like you've been saying, work with what you have. The talent is there. Grow the talent. Yes, you guys only have 2 hours on national TV, but you guys got a whole YouTube that's low-key popping. And now they got this elevation shit. And, supposedly Big Show's going to be on there doing his thing, blah, 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 whatever. Big Show is done wrestling. I lost faith in Big Show a while ago. You got more faith than I do. Listen, Big Show is out here because wrestlers and anybody in entertainment got egos. They still want to go. They still want a piece of the limelight. And Tony Khan gave that motherfucker a great check. Like you said earlier.
But and I'm not, once again, I'm not mad at Tony for taking it, for doing that. But it's just like, use them right. But my thing with Big Show is kind of like, yo, you're the Big Show. There's so much you can do. If you want, if you didn't like the contract WWE gave you, there's so much equity in who the fuck you are. You can go outside of wrestling and then do well above that. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, you did not need to sully your legacy fucking around with AEW and these not known as motherfuckers. Like, what is this death match bullshit I'm hearing about with John Moxley and Kenny Omega? What are we doing? It's 75. Have y'all not seen what happened to fucking Tory Funk? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Which one was it? Was it Tory? Which one was Dory Funk? Terry Funk, excuse me. You see what happened with fucking Terry Funk? You see how fucking Mick Foley is out here just trying to get his life right with DDP, and you motherfuckers want to go back to those ages? Can you explain to me what this shit is?
But so people who are listening, they're doing like explosive barbed wire match, right? Ugh. I've never really seen one. I'm gonna order it tonight and watch it. But this is Moxley's idea. Moxley wants to do
Jesus, he's so
The
stupid.
beat 'em up, bang, bang, whatever, do what you know. Moxley is this. And I love using wrestling and rap. Moxley's the rapper that was signed to a major. He had a couple of hits out, nothing too crazy. But he's like, yo, I'm done with majors. I want to go indie. And I'm going to rap about what I want to rap about.
I got you.
So, yeah. So he's just on some shit like, yo, I want to do blood, guts, and gory shit because that's what I like. And that's what I'm going to do. And Tony's not going to say a damn word about it because he's a massive fan. And he understands if this is what's going to sell. Now, I don't think Moxley's a superstar, but motherfuckers like him. And he sells a decent amount of tickets and decent amount of pay-per-view buys. And he's doing what the fuck he wants to do because Tony's going to let him. Ain't nobody agree for this shit.
Listen, you know what the thing is? Okay. I'll concede with you on the whole Tony letting him whatever. But Kenny Omega, you're gonna have this match against a Kenny Omega. Like pick your spots, pick your guys. Like Kenny Omega is not that guy.
Not at all. Not at all.
So why would you have a death match against a guy that isn't even gonna listen? The reason that and I understand probably what Tony's mindset is because the way you're talking. So I'm trying to put myself in Tony's shoes and a wrestler coming to me telling me that they want to do this, right? So it's like I may agree to it if it's the right opponent. But the reason that, all right, the whole Mankind and Undertaker thing set off so well is because Mankind knows, all right, I have this background in wild shit. This is WWE. We're on a massive stage. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels just had a great Hell in a Cell match like a few months ago. I'm not going to go out here and have a 5-star match with Undertaker. It's got to be crash and burn. But it was a reason for the crash and burn, and it all worked because you got The Undertaker and you got Mankind and you got these two entities. And then leading up to this point, they had boiler room matches. They were trying to kill each other. Who the fuck is Kenny Omega?
So, this is why you are actually right. Because they only had an unsanctioned match last year. I think it was at Revolution. And it was a wild, crazy match, right?
Right.
But between then and now, because of COVID, shit was, different. They haven't really done anything. Nothing really at all. And Kenny kind of said something like, oh, I'm going to get rid of you completely in this type of match. But like you said, it wasn't a buildup that was done the right way. Where it came up to the point like this is, because what you talked about is the psychology and the storytelling. It didn't lead up to a point of where this is the only way we can end this feud. Now, did Kenny kind of allude to it in his promo? He kind of, yeah. But the actions leading up to the promo wasn't really there.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So it didn't lead up to that. It didn't lead up to that in the right way where it was like, this is like the end of the end be all for this thing. I think what's supposed to happen, it's they're supposed to send John Moxley into the sunset because Shorty's pregnant. His wife is pregnant, so they're probably gonna go on paternity leave, whatever. But
of course,
the real thing, you're right, because it didn't lead up to something. But this is the only way. This is what the problem is with them a lot of times. They aren't fully telling their story. They're not putting the energy and the storytelling into things. They kind of quickly stopping it. Like for instance, FTR versus the Young Bucks. Now you have old school, non-high flying, which is the FTR, versus modern day super kick spots all over.
Right.
Young Bucks, right? Now, I was excited to see that match, but you should have kept it. You should have prolonged it more to give it more to it and give more to the storyline so people can yo, holy shit, they won this one. Let's get at least that's the reason why you have multiple things happen, because it solidifies characters.
Right.
Kenny versus Moxie hasn't really solidified anything lately. And you haven't, and you're right, because a guy like you're like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Like, I like wrestling, but it's like, and this is what I've talked about with Barry and Smarks. I've talked about it with my boy Los. We had an episode with him. It's like, yo, Vince McMahon has spoiled me. And then the way that he has presented wrestling in the sense of everything it should be a story to it. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times I'll be mad at Vince too, and I'll be cursing his ass out. Don't get me wrong. So it's not like I'm not always happy with WWE. But what I'm saying is that I feel like you, Tony Khan, Tony, baby, Tony, because there's a chance that you're listening to this. There's a chance. Tony, baby, let me tell you something. Let Dean, this is why we have conversations with Dean, because y'all need my guidance. And Tony, obviously you need my guidance. So let me help you out here, baby. There's no reason that you as a wrestling fan, Tony, don't understand that there needs to be stories to this. Let there be a build-up. Let there be the good guys. Let there be the bad guys. But let's say that you don't want your two top guys to go at it too long while they're having their feud. You can have other guys get interjected in between for a little bit, kind of push them away, build it back together. It's just basic storytelling. I understand that you're a math and science. Excuse me, you're a numbers guy. You're a business guy. But go and take an English class again, a refresher. Go and take a playwriting class. I'm telling you, this will help you in what you're doing. And then when you do that, I want you to then wear sweatpants. Don't put any underwear on because you need to let your balls drop. Because right now they're so up inside you, they're damn near at your throat. You understand what I'm saying? Because you keep bitching out to these wrestlers, allowing them to do this fucking nonsense and talking you into all this Lord knows what the fuck shit. Tony, you're better than this, Tony. You're better than this, Tony. Listen. Let Dean help you. And this is even free advice, baby. I ain't even gonna charge you nothing. Do the right thing.
Because I think there's potential there. The talent is there. Like,
there's a ton of talent there.
I talk about their women's division where it's like, all right, WWE has their issues with the women's division because sometimes it gets a little too top heavy. And you're like, yo, what about everybody else?
Yes.
But you're fully using their women's division, especially in NXT. Now, I love Japanese wrestling because the creativity is on another level. But you got a shit ton of American talent that you're not using.
Yo, it's fucking, listen here, motherfuckers. Let me tell you something else. AE fucking W. Yes, I understand that Vince McMahon, WWE is doing the right thing and open up international talent. Do I think you should do the same thing? Absolutely. But don't forget, you're an American product, homegrown. We're going to put you on, son. Come on, son. Stop just playing these people like this. You know what I mean? And you know,
And the thing is the women need more reps. They need more reps to be able to tell these matches better. Like, Nyla should have, you can say what you want to say. If you're into transgender, whatever, Nyla should have been your first champ.
You said she shouldn't have?
She should have. She was only your second champ. No. She's been their second champ. She should have been your first champ. Should have had a decent title reign. And you know, the business is a business where, like, the wrestling is entertainment, right? And I always say that. And you have a ton of, I put my nigga on so my nigga can put his niggas on. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is. And, you know, Kenny's big on Japanese wrestlers because he's from Japan, Japanese women wrestlers. He loves them, but he's not taking care of home. Where you sign a bunch of people and it's like, yo, let's build this up. Because when shit starts really moving, when things open up, you have an established women's division. You can still fuck with the Japanese. Mm-hmm. Like you can do a whole women's tournament like you did, but instead of having it for the title, have it just for like a Mae Young Classic type of thing.
Yeah.
Where because I love what they did because they had matches in Japan, they had matches here, and they really brought it. So I was like, yo, that's dope. But why end it with two Japanese chicks at the end of your thing?
Uh-huh.
What are you doing with the talent that you currently have?
Uh-huh.
And then you can argue like, well, the talent is not there yet. No, they need to be in the fire. You need to have your producers backstage helping them put these matches together so they can look good.
Tony's got to do his job, and then
Go ahead.
But this all comes down to Tony. Not what I mean by that is this isn't like, listen, me and you are both wrestling fans. You're a bigger wrestling fan than me. You're into it more. You're tapped into the culture. If Tony is supposed to be, listen, right now, if you went to AEW and handled their creative for a fucking year, I guarantee you, with the tools that they got over there, you would do a hell of a lot better than Tony is, because they don't know their elbow from their asshole. It's like, guys, slow the fuck down. Like Cody Rhodes, what are they paying you? Okay, listen, I get it. You're on the Big Show with Burt Kreischer, Snoop Dogg, and all them living the life. I get it, baby. I'm not hating that shit. But get your shit together at the crib, bro. This shit's looking wild. Young Bucks, it's looking wild. Omega, you should have. Omega. You know something else that bothers me with Omega? You're an EVP, right? Executive Vice President. You should know wrestling. You should know. Like, listen, are you gonna go through a character change? Were you heading to a character change? Are you about to become this deep dark dude? Are you about to become that guy? Because this is a waste of everybody's fucking time. Like, where could you and him go after here? Like, I think
he could do that. That would be great, but he has to.
It's gonna be out of I listen. They bore me. They bore me. They fucking bore me. The only good one out of them is Cody. I'm not gonna lie. But
Cody's a complete package.
But fucking Kenny Omega's boring. The Young Bucks are fucking super kick one trick ponies, and all you do is flips and shit like that. Like, ugh, get out of here. Fucking like, it's just they just exhaust me. The whole AEW thing exhausts me. But you know what? Let's get off of them and their exhaustion, because it just bothers me. So I want to talk to you about something that I'm loving right now with WWE. And people can say what they want. I don't know why people are hating on it, but Vince McMahon once again does not disappoint me. I'm loving this Nigerian shit with fucking Apollo Crews. And you know what? Because here's the thing that people online don't want to talk about. So when Apollo Crews, like, let me tell you what sold me on it. You got Apollo Crews talking to Big E, right? Which but him saying it to Big E was kind of confusing, because Big E's Caribbean American, but whatever, because it's different. But the tone was to African Americans when he's like, I'm fucking African American. Like, I'm from Nigeria, like from Africa. Like, I'm the man. Like, I was like, yo, anybody within the black community knows. We're going to get real here for a second, because I know there's going to be some wrestling fans here. You know, I know you got some white people listening. They may not be as educated to this, but we're about to hit them to the game. Now y'all in the dungeon. So there's a conversation within the black community all the time between African Americans and then Caribbean Americans. And there's a tension. And even and then Africans from Africa. There's always been a tension, but excuse me. There has always been a group-wide tension, and the tension has literally always have been, some people feel as if African Americans are lazy, some of us feel as if we should have been doing more. Like, the African or Caribbean immigrants that come over here will sometimes look at us like, yo, what are y'all doing out here? And then we'll look at them in reverse, like, well, what the fuck you come here for? Why don't you stay back in your country, yada, yada, yada. And you have this whole big tension. And you got the Africans kind of like, fuck all of you guys sucking. And we look at them like, you guys are scammers. So there is always a tension between these groups. So when you have Apollo Crews saying that, I was like, oh my God. I wanted to know if there was a black writer doing that. I was like, did that come from a black writer? Because if it did, I fucking understand it. Or if it came from Apollo, I was like, oh my God. Like, did you? That's what sold it for me. That's why I know everybody's online like, oh, they got him with the sword and shit like that. Like, do you not remember? Do y'all not know that Wakanda just came out? Yeah, the Black Panther. Like, come on. Why would they not try to draw why wouldn't they not want people to look at Apollo Crews and then to associate him somewhat with the Black Panther, which then in people's minds is going to go with power, strength, stability, royalty, regality. You see what I mean? Like, all these people out here talking shit like, oh, I think it's racist, it's this, it's that. No, it's a real conversation and it's real fucking rap. I'm here for it.
So I watched it live on Friday, and I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I'm seeing the comments. I'm just like, okay, let's see what kind of feedback he's getting from it. I ain't gonna lie, I made some jokes about it. I was like, yo, it looks like Apollo still coming to America and said, let's get busy. I made some jokes,
that's your right though. That's your right. You know what I'm saying?
But I didn't have a real problem with it. Now, other people were like, yo, he's forcing the accent. He's not really, he's Nigerian, but he doesn't have an accent. I was like, yo, most Nigerians I know can talk with an accent when they start speaking, even if the ones that are born here. And if you listen to the promo, he said, I've been hiding my accent because I was ashamed of it. Now, he explained to you where the accent came from. So you can't really say anything at that point. There was an explanation of where the accent came from. So then people were complaining about the spear. I don't know too much, but I know that's like symbolic in the Nigerian community, in the Nigerian culture. So that's what I was okay with it, because it doesn't mean he's about to throw some spears at anybody. It just means like, yo, that's a symbolism of
I'm going to war.
Yeah, and this is I'm going to war, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're gonna do. And this is also a modern day character type of change he's doing, whatever. So when I saw, I didn't have a problem with it. And I understand the struggle between American Blacks, Caribbean Blacks, and African Blacks. Because I've been friends with Africans. I'm Caribbean Black. And, I have really good friends who are American Black. And they both talk shit to each other, and there is something there.
Right? You can't, it's a tension. It's like, don't get me wrong, it's not, and people here listening, it's not everyone, because some of us, we've been raised amongst each other, so we understand it, but we understand what our elders have said, and that our people have said what their elders have said. And then when you getting drunk with your peoples and y'all just having heart to hearts, the shit come out and motherfuckers will be like, yo, my uncle always used to say this about you motherfuckers, and then they be like, well, my grandma would say about y'all, and then y'all just be having a conversation about it, and they be like, damn.
Like my mom stay talking shit about, like she just calls them Black Americans. They're bad people for the most part.
And then, and then it's crazy, because like it doesn't even bother me, because like, so on my grandma lives in Queens, right?
Yeah.
Up the street from my grandmother lives, there's this poppin' Haitian restaurant. Like this shit is like, people come from Connecticut, like you see Connecticut license plates over there getting this fucking food, and they take up parking all over the fucking block.
Yeah.
It's like my grandmother's house. She has her sister to the right, and then to the left is my cousin, her nephew. And then all the time, it's just like, look at them taking up all of our fucking parking, like these motherfuckers. Like it's and then you just kind of wonder, because then everyone I was talking to him, I was like, would we care if it was another restaurant? I remember I said that. I said if it was a soul food restaurant, would you care? And I didn't get any comment, and we just kind of pushed over. And I was like, I see. Okay, like there's something there. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm with a Caribbean motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, some of my closest friends are, like, my co-host is Guyanese. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't bother me, but there's something there. So when WWE tapped into it, that's why I was like, yo, either somebody's with the culture, you got a black writer. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know what you're doing, but Vinnie Mac, let's get it, baby.
But it's a conversation piece, because now you're going, then they probably won't do it, because it would be really pushing that conversation of like, yo, I'm really Black, you're not.
I'm waiting for that.
He can really push that.
But didn't he say he had a promo where he said something like that previously, where he kind of was like, yo, I'm really from Africa. Some of y'all not, and y'all just mad at me. And that's why I was like, oh, this is wonderful.
Because it's going to open up a conversation especially within a Black community. Because the one thing a lot of African Blacks have over African Americans is that they know where they came from. And it's that you can't trace back your lineage.
Nope. I can trace it back to a plantation.
For most blacks, you can't really trace it back. And then Caribbean blacks, you can kind of say something because we have a culture to hold on to. That's not American culture.
Absolutely. You have your own culture.
You have our own culture, which is rich with African culture. And you obviously it's been diluted with a little bit of European culture, obviously. But me being Haitian, if an African came to me and was like, yo, you ain't really, blah, 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 like, yo, bro, we are the first black country with independence. Enough said.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like, you can't, like, to be honest with you, if you don't really know if you don't know black history, then you really shouldn't come at Haitians. Like the reason I can banter and talk shit with Haitians is because I understand history and understand what they mean to us.
Yeah.
Like to be honest with you, we shit. I personally think that for a while it was like a worldwide like kind of thing just to make sure that Haiti failed just because of that reason.
Oh,
but
that's
like,
100% the reason why. But
like, not for nothing, like when we talk about how Africans like interact with people or just people in general, how interact with us, me as like an African American, right? My family's American. They Black Americans. I can trace it back to plantations, Bama, North Carolina. The only thing I can say is this: I'm fucking American at the end of the day, because guess what? My family built this fucking country, literally.
Yeah.
The culture that this country has is my culture. The culture that most people around the world want to take away from them, and the culture they like to emulate, no matter what, is American culture. Everybody talks shit about America, but you want to come to America. So, like, the only thing, like, the one thing I take solace in is like, hey, listen, I may not know that other shit, but I know I'm an American, and I am a Black American. Don't get me wrong, I'm proud of that one. But like, I don't take offense if an African's like, well, you know, you're not from Africa. Yeah, I know, motherfucker. I was born here. Well, I can trace back generations here. Like, I don't care to be like, did you know that we wanted to, we can fucking bomb the shit out of it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want to get technical about it. Like, I'll get petty. Like, you know what I mean? Like listen, yo, my boys from the Bahamas in college, and he used to just talk shit. And I remember we used to just be like, yo, it would be me, because he all right, so he was from the Bahamas, it would be me and my boy Saeed. We both African Americans. And motherfuckers just talking shit. And he'd be like, yo, my country's so much better than yours. You know what I'm saying? Those. And we just be like, how long you think it'll take our country to fucking overtake yours? How long? 2 hours? like 30 minutes? What you gonna say? You know what I'm saying? But that's just banter. That's just fucking, you know what I'm saying?
But you're right. You're right. And it's fun, but it's also the reason why this is growing up, this was the issue. And it wasn't about America, you're here in America. My mom always made it seem, this is what Africans have, is like, how they don't understand it because they don't understand the racial undertones, the racism within the system. Because if you go from eating really shitty ground beef, and then now you're eating hamburger helper with the good sauce on it,
that's a come
you're
up.
like, yo, I'm living like a king out here. And the reason why I use this example, because it's a lot of immigrants come from places that wasn't so great. Or they came from places where they don't have as many opportunities. So a lot of Africans and Caribbean Americans, they come to America, it's like, yo, y'all got mad shit here.
And y'all mad lazy. Well, rightfully, yeah. But can I say this though? And I want you to keep on going. I do want to say this.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go on record. Some of that shit, when they talking about laziness, some of that shit is true for certain people. Don't get me wrong. There's some people out here getting fucked up by the system, but some of y'all using the system. Some of us is lazy, and y'all know who it be, and y'all know what it is.
Yeah, but that's the biggest thing that comes from. But it also comes from media. The white media portrays blacks as a certain type of way. It's just these different types of stereotypes on blacks that Caribbean blacks and African blacks believe about it. So when they come here, they're like, yo, I came here with nothing in my pocket and I'm able to make a living for my family, but you're born here, you're a citizen, you have all these benefits. Why aren't you guys all rich? But they don't understand the issues that come with being in this country and how hard it is.
The systematic thing, yeah.
The systematic racism that's within the system. So that's the reason why. So growing up, My mom used to say that all the time. Like, I don't understand how they don't have anything, and I came here with nothing, and I have this, and that, blah blah blah. And I was like, I get that, but you don't understand that like their parents were crackheads and shit like that. How the whole era really fucked up Black households, and how the FBI basically brought crack to America and destroyed the inner city.
How our own government was literally just wanted to corrupt Black Americans. Like, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong. When I was saying that, like, some of us are lazy, it's some, but the majority, you just got caught in a fucked up situation. But some of this shit you gotta, you know what happened. Like we know what happened and we know what they're doing. So while you're fighting to get justice done right, you still got to move forward and do what you got to do and make sure you're educating you and your peers, baby.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. And it's these conversations, but I don't think they'll get that deep, because even Black Panther was surface level with that conversation.
Yeah, it was.
It was surface level with that conversation of like, it was 3 different types of Blacks, where it was the Blacks where, yo, let's rise up and destroy all these niggas.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was the Blacks like, yo, we good here. We don't want no problems. We got our shit together. We don't want to, we ain't gonna, you know, mess up anything. Or it was, let's take care of our own and mind our business.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna lie, if I had to choose one, it would be, let's take care of our own
and mind our business.
Right. Because I'm all about, like, I'm gonna take care of my shit. We work together. You down, then we'll take care of ourselves and we'll be fine.
Absolutely.
But
you don't need to have everybody in your business. You don't need to be in everyone else's business.
But, you know, people want that unity type of thing, like, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's always that conversation of, like, was segregation bad or good for Black people?
Ooh, you want to get into that? The history major? We could get into that.
I'm always moving back and forth with that.
Right. There's sometimes you wake up and you're just like, it was terrible that we desegregated. Sometimes you're just like, no, it needed to happen. Like, it's a very tough thing to go through, because sometimes you're just like, they don't fucking like you anyway. Like, but then you're like, no, because then you wouldn't have certain advantage. Just life would be weird. Like, it's a very, I got you on that. Like, I don't know. I'm just showing you, I think, what a lot of us go through every day. Just
because on a moral standpoint, segregation is fucked up.
Morally, yes.
Morally, you're literally telling a person that they're not good enough
to use your things. Even though it's a public like facility or public whatever, and you're telling them that. But then you look at it at an economical standpoint, where Black people have so many of their own things, many of their, and was doing things on their own, and they were so independent. There you go. Go ahead. No. Well, I was going to throw in, but then the but goes. The reason why, obviously, morally, yes, and morally, that's never the question of when we're saying segregation should end or not. It's more like, yeah, morally, duh. But then it's like, for us, the things we had, yes, we would have been, our communities would have been more stable. But then you think about it like how would representation have went in Congress? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we still would have like, at the end of the day, we still would have been fucked. We still would have been fucked over. So really, it comes down to, it needed to have the desegregation. It needed to have the desegregation, like, because then what it would have.
Because at the end of the day, we needed our voices heard, because we would have been the voiceless. We wouldn't have been there. Wouldn't have been anywhere in type of Congress. And then think about it, there's a lot that's changing, because you kind of gotta, like, all right, yeah, it's good to have your own table, but
you still got to be at the table.
Because the thing about it, you're at the kids' table. That's where Black people at. I need to be at the adults' table that's making the decisions.
Yep. So yeah, so definitely, but I know what you mean. Like when it just comes to, like, our community, things like that, it's like, yo, you would have been forced. Like, that's why HBCUs were so popping back then, because you want a degree, you had to go there. You see what I'm saying?
But then the thing about it, though, like you said, that bigger table that makes all the decisions can easily blow up that community for you.
That's why that's why you got to go. That's why you had to have it. But I don't know. But you know what it is? I think this is the issue with American blacks right now, right? And a lot of the younger ones. You don't understand history. That's why they don't have any pride. That's why they look at me like I remember even when Donald Trump was in office, I might not never be scared to have my flag, my American flag, because I'm a fucking American at the end of the day. Guess what? It's my right. And then guess what? When fucking Kaepernick took a knee, I was with him on that shit. If I was in the NFL, I would have took a goddamn knee too. You know what I mean? Like it's because we don't know our history. We don't understand what we have done. We have contributed. We have this we're just like, fuck this country, but we don't understand what we have changed and what we could change. You know what I mean? Like, America did a hell of a thing when they destroyed a few generations with the war on drugs, because that's why we're so fucking behind now and we're playing catch up. They wiped, like, oh my God. But then under that same token, that's why I understand why we then get so mad. We're like, goddamn, fuck this country. But then it's like that's why we got to get in these position of power to really show what it should have been. Because motherfucker, we built the country anyway. They just profited off of our labor.
So much for this country.
Absolutely. We continue to do so.
But the thing about it, and I sound like an old head now.
$1 trillion. We put trillions of dollars into this country.
But
year
the
in and year out.
People think that everything is good because, like, they live in a world where it's like, oh, things are fine.
Yeah, okay. You think
but
so?
They don't know that the 60s was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
They don't know that the war on drugs was 30 years ago. So that's what it comes down to. I used to be a history teacher, and I was teaching a bunch of, privileged white kids. And I would show them the real stuff. I was like, this is the war on drugs. This is what really happened. And then I spoke to them about the war, the opium war that it's going on with the opiates, like, and now it's a big deal. It's like, oh, I was like, yeah, but this is the same thing that happened in the 80s. But it was crack and it was happening in the inner city. So nobody cared.
Just lock those motherfuckers up. Shouldn't be out there doing it anyway. You should know better back then. And then it's funny because now I was having a conversation with a friend, right? And then this is what conversation with Dean is about. This is about having real conversations. I was talking to a buddy of mine, right? I was like, yo, I said, why should I care? I said, tell me, why should I care? Because y'all didn't. So why should I? Like, just talk to me about it. Like, and don't get me wrong, morally, I obviously feel something for the opioid crisis. And obviously, truthfully speaking, I want it to be fixed, because then obviously if you look at the opioid condition, you're looking at crack. We could do a lot. I want a lot of things fixed. So I'm not against it. But I was talking to him, I was like, yo, you should make me care the same way I used to have to make you care. But it sucks because I'm not gonna make you jump through these hoops. But think about it. I told him, I said, think about it like that for a second. I said, think about that. I said, and now with that, make an argument for it. And he was like, that's pretty deep to say. And I was like, exactly. I said, it's always funny when it's the black man, no one cares. But when they're white, it would be blasphemous not to care.
Exactly, because they treat it like it's a mental disease, it's an addiction, these people need help. But during the crack epidemic, it
you're just locking everyone up.
Locking everybody up, and they weren't treating them like these people have an addiction.
Nope.
They weren't treating that this was a chemical going into their bodies that was destroying them.
Nope.
And destroying a lot of things. And they didn't try to get these people help. Like, I watched Crack on Netflix. It's a special on Netflix, and it goes through the entire whole thing. And it's like people who are, addicted, who were selling it and stuff of that nature. The opioid crisis is the same thing. It's violent too.
Absolutely. It's dangerous as shit. And don't get me wrong, people who sell crack and people who sell opioids, I think that they all deserve the same thing. So don't get me wrong. I can't stand it. It's just funny within this country how you tell people about systematic racism and how the system is really built against us, and then they somehow still can't even understand it when you put blatant things right in their face. Like, fuck the Capitol Hill thing. We're not even gonna talk about that. But just looking at how you handle the opioid crisis versus crack, it's just amazing. Or even how you handle, like, it's just,
It's just a whole conversation that we're just now talking about because we're getting more educated on it. But when you look at it, history has shown that you guys put it in our community. Now, a fucked up thing happened, but what are you guys fixing it? Nothing. You don't give a fuck. You don't care about it. You don't want things to get better within the community. You don't, because you don't care. My biggest thing is people go, oh, and racist people, they go, oh, well, you guys get so many privileges and stuff. I was like, nigga, no, we do not.
Yeah.
Because if we got the privileges that we are supposed to get, we would be as equal as you guys on everything, but we're not. The school system in most inner cities fucking suck. The health system fucking sucks.
Oh, yeah. You know something? I was listening to Patrice O'Neal because I love Patrice O'Neal.
I love Patrice.
And Patrice O'Neal said something. He was on the Opie and Anthony radio show, and I listen to a lot of those old radio clips every now and then when I'm feeling down creatively and I really just need to kind of kick myself in the ass. I listen to some Patrice. And Patrice was like, listen, we need to get to the point in the world where mediocre black people could have good jobs like mediocre white people. That's the point we need to get to in the world.
Bars. Bro. Oh, I got a story to tell you.
Because there's a lot of mediocre white people in positions where it's like a mediocre black guy could go there. Or a mediocre Spanish guy could go there. Just whoever it is, we should get to the point in America where somebody mediocre American could be there. Just doesn't have to. I just don't have to deal with mediocre white people because that disgusts me.
Okay, so
because you shouldn't be mediocre and white the way that the system's set up for you.
So
if you're gonna be mediocre, oh god.
I was working at the school I worked at, and it was a super. The tuition was $30K a year. Money. I'm talking about David Bowie's child went to the school.
Wait, you said how much it was? $130K a year?
No, $30,000 a semester.
Oh, that's how much people have to pay to go there. I got you. Okay, bless. So
that's how much the tuition was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I get the job, right? And the principal, my homegirl, put me onto the job. And, I did the interview. Principal loves me. Like, I'll talk about this later, but there's a certain privilege of being a black man. And people won't admit it.
Yo, do you want to, Sir Wilkins, we can do that too.
We can talk about it, but I'm going to get to that.
I love my black privilege, and I'm damn sure going to fucking exercise it. Same way they exercise their white one.
Black men have this weird dichotomy, this weird
they either hate us or they love us.
Yeah.
And so then it's hard. It's hard. Whatever it is. It's a hard whatever it is. Either they really like you or they really hate you.
So I did the interview. Shorty loves me. And I was just being myself. But my resume is fucking stacked. She was like, wow. She was like, you graduated college and you have like a degree in history? I was like, yeah.
I want to be a teacher, duh.
I have that. And I was told I needed that in order to get this job. Like, I don't know what to say. She was like, but you've done this, you've done that. Like, I was like, yeah. She's like, you got the job. I get the job. I guess I had gotten the position before my coworker got the position, and she felt the way, even though she ended up getting the position because they had to split the position into two, but she still felt the way. Now, she couldn't stand me at first. She talked hot shit about me. And I remember one day, I was just like, she was like, oh, we just talking, grad, because I tried to build a relationship with her. Right, and she was like, yo, what do you, did you, what college you guys? I was like, I graduated from Brooklyn College. I got my degree in history. But she's like, you have a degree in history? I was like, yes. That's why I'm teaching history and teaching all this other stuff. And my minor was in economics.
Keep talking. I gotta turn the light up.
And then she was just like, what? Like what? She was in total shock. She was in total shock. She was in total shock, and she was like, oh. And I was like, don't all the teachers have degrees? Like, yeah, but none of them have this many things that you got. I was like, these, okay. And I remember she has her master's. She was a white woman. She had her master's, whatever. And most of the dudes there just had a bachelor's degree, and that was it. Nothing more, nothing less. They didn't have dual degrees, nothing. But they were some of the highest paid people there.
You know how it goes. You got to earn it. It's so funny how overqualified we have to be. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is where you're going to go with black privilege when it comes sometimes. So it's black male privilege. It's like for us, it's so funny because I've realized that in many different jobs that I've worked in, it's kind of like you come in with all these, you come in with the qualifications. You come in with everything that they could ask for. And then they somehow still are always shocked by how good of a job you do. They're always just like, yo, this is great. And then you're just like, well, yeah. Well, then, yeah. But then it's weird because like when you're perfect for so long, if you make a mistake, then it's like the weirdest thing sometimes. And they're just like, hey, is everything all right? I'm just like, yeah, I'm fucking human, not a machine. Yeah. This is the shit we be talking about. See, and you then, fucking in your genes, you think I'm a fucking machine.
And then there's this fear and fetish.
Yes, you can see it. It's weird.
I used to be an assistant general manager for a Puerto Rican restaurant in New York City. Mm-hmm. I've had a ton of jobs, a ton of different career paths.
Hey, listen, nothing wrong with that.
So one day my GM said he wants to talk to me, and I was like, "What you want to talk about?" And I'm dark skinned, I'm built, I have a very boisterous voice. So I'm gonna tell you this right now. I took off my jacket, the motherfucker jumped out of his skin because he was so scared. And I was just taking off my jacket to put my jacket down. And I spoke to my aunt about it. I was like, yo, he's white, right? He's scared of you. That's a privilege. Enjoy that shit. Because they're so scared of us that when they're not armed, they don't know what to do. And they kind of they're forced to like listen and respect. And then a lot of times the women, it's this weird thing where they're scared of you, but then they fetishize about us at the same time.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, miss, I'm not a sexual being, but then at the same time, you thinking I'm a sexual being is gonna help me get over at this job. Because
it's a weird dichotomy. I was speaking to your other point of fear. I remember this is something crazy. So I was working and we had to go somewhere, right? So we're driving or whatever like that. And then we got to go pick something up. So I'm parking. And as I'm parking, there's this car that's supposed to basically like, I want to back in because I like to back in because you just never know how you got to make an exit. You know what I'm saying? You always just want to be able to boom, get out real fast. So I'm trying to wave this car to go so I can kind of do my thing. And me and the guy's kind of going back and forth. He's telling me to go. I'm like, no, go. And so then the guy finally goes, right? And I'm not getting mad or anything. And I got somebody sitting right next to me, older white guy. And then the guy starts to go. And then I think it was then when they started going past me, I thought it was my man's. And so then I like rolled the windows down. I threw my hands up and I was like, yo! Now I'm doing this. I see out the corner of my eye, he get beat red immediately. I'm like, what's wrong with him? I was like, this is weird. Dude drop bomb. And I was like, oh, snap, my bad. I thought you were my boy Jesse. I call El Jefe. Because I was like, El Jefe. And then, so I think maybe, I don't know. Then, like I said, he got red. Dude goes by me. I was like, oh, my bad. I thought you was my man's. He got the same car, whatever the case may be. Y'all kind of look the same. He's like, oh, nah. We kind of laughed. I was like, all right, have a good day. I'm backing in. The guy was with. He was just like, yo, he goes, I thought you were going to beat the shit out of that guy. And I was like, for what? Why? I was like, I was so cool. I said, I was even happy and smiling. He was like, I didn't even know. He goes, I just thought that you were just going to just lose your mind. I was like, no, I'm at work. I was like, I lose my mind after 5. Come on.
That's what they think is like,
adult.
We're this psychopathic, like, I used to work with this manager once, and we just couldn't get along because he was just so scared of me. And he used to bother the mess out of me. I was like, yo, he's like, are you okay? Like, I'm just trying to talk to you. I was like, yo, why are you shaking while I'm speaking to you? I just need to know what the plan is. And I'm disagreeing.
What A, B, and C is.
I'm just disagreeing with you about something. Like, fucking relax. But at
Yeah.
the same time, they have to respect you.
Yeah,
'Cause they're
no.
here.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like, it's funny because it's like, yo, you shouldn't. My thing is, you should respect me as a man first and foremost, and you shouldn't fear me. Like talking to them, you shouldn't fear me any more or any less you fear anyone else. Like, don't get me
Exactly.
like now in that person's defense, I told that story about. In that moment, that's kind of what I classified it as. I still do deep down, but then I like seeing other instances, and I'm just like, oh, they're just a very non-confrontational person. So when I did that, they probably really were like, oh, because it's loud, we're this confined space. This is this big black man. Like, even though I've been nothing but nice and jolly. You know what I mean? It's funny. Like, I'm like, you work with certain people. They're just like, I couldn't even imagine you getting angry. And it's just like, good, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Like, I should
But you
just be the
have to
happy,
be
jolly
extra
guy.
happy because if you're not, they're gonna go, "What the fuck? He's such an angry." It's the stereotype. But when you're happy, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like,
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny because like I remember like, no matter at what job, obviously if you're having a conversation with people and like you're disagreeing, I have no reason to smile at this point. I'm trying to win a debate over this topic so that I think we can move the best way possible. So then instead of me going from being, yeah, I do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's what I think. I think that we should probably do this, and this. And then they take you being firm, like you saying earlier, they're just like, what's going on? And it's just like, are you okay? It's like, no, I didn't flip a switch. I'm professional. I'm just being firm. You used to me being happy and cool. And the only reason I was happy and cool is because I happen to agree with what you were doing. Now I don't. I'm going to be firm in my position. Now, ultimately, you do what you want. But I said my piece. Like, you know what I mean? And then I don't know. It's just odd. It's just odd because then you see how certain people don't care in the workplace. You got certain kind of white folk who don't give a fuck. They'll treat you like everyone else. They don't give two shits. And then you got the other ones who are just like, you said, scared of you. And then you got the other ones who were like just waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak, waiting for you to fuck up. And then
100%.
when you never do, they get so mad. And like it's the funny. Now those are the funniest ones to work with. You know what I mean? And then it's just like, well, sorry here, buddy. Sorry, couldn't help you. Couldn't fail
Yeah,
for you,
that
buddy.
sounds about right. Sounds about right.
But listen here, Sir Wilkins. This has been one hell of a fucking episode. We, of course, went all over the goddamn gambit, which I love. Listen here, people. Well, listen, before we head out, do you want to give the people your, give like tell people where they can find you? Give you a
You
shout
can
out.
find me on Sir Wilkins on everything, SIR_Wilkins. I'm also part 1/3 of the Jobber Tears podcast, the Jobber Tears podcast, CHER, Jobber, JOBBBER podcast, PODCAST on all forms of social media. We are there. We are a wrestling podcast. I'm a wrestling personality in some ways. But this has been a good time, man. Thank you for the great conversation over some random food. My neighbors are like, yo, what the hell? I got passionate. So
Hey, listen. You know what I mean? It's always good to have Sir Wilkins on. Listen, Sir Wilkins, this has been a pleasure. I think something tells me that, like, because listen, I'm trying to just become, Black and the Berry's trying to become huge. I'm trying to become huge. Lil's trying to become huge. Something tells me that you're going to be a really good friend of the Conversation with Dean show. And I think I'm going to have to invite you on whenever. And let me tell you something. I'm going to do this on air right now. I'm going to hit you up whenever. You hit me up whenever you want to. If you just feeling some kind of way about something non-wrestling related you want to argue about, come holler at me. If you just, or matter of fact, if you want to blast somebody in the wrestling community, bang, bang. I'm facilitator for you, baby. No problems. Listen, all right, y'all. Peace, love, and chicken. We out.